Talked about that. You called it the pink elephant in the room of being Nolan. How do you operate camp with not knowing what's going to happen there?
To be quite honest, you operate as if he's coming to camp, and my conversations with him up to this point have been exactly that. Until that changes, there's no reason to plan otherwise. So, as we stand here today, we have pitchers and catchers here, so we're focused on that. And then once we get to position players and having full camp here, then we'll address it. Yeah.
What do you want to find out about this ball club in spring training? Obviously, you have a lot of pieces that you're familiar with, some younger guys trying to show what they can do, but what are you looking to find out there?
You do have a lot of familiar faces coming through, and guys that we've already spent time with and know well, and they know us well. So more than anything, and what I really see them doing a good job of is coming together as a group, and that started this offseason. And when you think about building something that lasts, you have to do that as a team, as a unit, and that's coming together really nicely. Yeah.
How much did McGreevy change his standing in this organization with what he did over those starts down the stretch?
He showed well, exactly as advertised. Did a really nice job of pounding the strike zone and living on the ground. He looks good. I don't know if you guys have seen him, but I mean, put on some weight. Looks really, really good. Had a really good off season. So I'm excited to see what's coming out of that arm. Yeah.
Ollie, when you look at the kind of the bullpen makeup, and kind of how that competition for late innings
Yeah.
is going to transpire. I mean, when you kind of look at that group now, I mean, what kind of stands out about it, and just kind of some of the internal names that you guys have?
Opportunity more than anything, because when you look at that group of guys that are returning, but guys that showed well and had flashes of what they're capable of doing in O'Reilly and a Roy Croft, and you add certain guys like Graceffo. Like there's a group of guys there that you want a couple of them to surprise you and run away with a job. But there'll be some good competition in that pen. Obviously, we don't have Kittredge here, who logged in a decent amount of innings for us and did a phenomenal job of handing it over to Helsley. So we'll need a couple of guys to step up. But you have Fernandez, you have, some really capable faces. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
How much easier is your job knowing Helsley there? He said, I thought I might get traded. There's the business
Sure,
side
yeah,
of it, but
absolutely.
for you knowing he is here, how much easier is your job? How much better does it make your...
It shortens the game for sure. You're talking about one of the best arms in the game right now, and to be able to rely on that in the ninth, you're trying to figure out ways to get there. But yeah, I love the ability to being able to call on him to get the last 3 outs of a game. Yeah.
How challenging is it as a manager when there's no real off-season upgrades for a team that didn't make the playoffs?
No, what's difficult for a manager is when there's not clarity or direction, which is far from what has taken place. I think the organization was very clear on what was going to take place and how we were going to go about doing it. So from being in limbo or up in the air difficulty, there's zero of that, to be quite honest. There's extreme clarity to what this offseason was going to look like. And we've operated under that the entire time as far as how we're prepping for the guys that are in that building at the moment. Yeah.
You mentioned the other day you might have something to share about the rotation. If not specifically, can I may ask?
Sure.
Just we got 5 guys coming back who, if the season started tomorrow, many people would put in their 5 spots. But we got McGreevy and Libertor, and we're talking about going young, but 5 guys got 5 starting jobs, so how does that all play out?
Yeah, we do have some guys that are returning that aren't young and are in those spots, and they'll remain in those spots for the time being. So camp will dictate kind of the direction we go there as far as just health. I mean, today's day 1, and if we come out of this clean, hopefully we do, that's amazing. But if not, there's some names we can call on that we feel comfortable with.
Is a 6-man rotation, is that possible?
I don't want to rule anything out. I'd like to see how we get halfway through this camp and how guys are feeling, and kind of when you start really nailing down the roster, the closer you get. But we'll wait and see.
How do you want to handle Matz at the start of camp? What's the plan with him?
No different than any other guy at the moment. His shoulder and everything feels as good as it's ever felt. So we're in a really good spot there. Obviously, he had a little bit of the ankle deal, but outside of that, he's in a really good spot.
He's stretched out to start? He's stretched out to
That
be
is
a
correct.
starter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
with Paez and Herrera, and they're kind of in a friendly competition where each would kind of battle each other for playing time all year, kind of, or will one emerge, or how do you see
Yeah, as we get further into camp, we'll provide more clarity to that. Obviously, Herrera is someone that he can hit, man, and he did a really nice job behind the plate. Obviously, we want to address the running game part of it, which he took to heart. Spent a decent amount repattering kind of how he throws in order to kind of be more effective there. So he spent the entire offseason fixing that, and we're waiting to see what that looks like. But it's a real hitter that could do a nice job behind the plate. And Paez, he showed the ability to game plan with the best of them. I mean, this is a guy that did a really nice job for us and gained the trust of that staff. So, yeah, there's competition there, but those are the two guys we're going to roll with. Yeah.
Oli, how would you describe the runway for Jordan Walker this spring, and what you guys are looking for him from down here in camp and then into the season?
To relax and be himself, but at the same time, when I say urgency, just in taking steps in the right direction. And man, he's done a nice job of that. He's doing a much better job of also just communicating in general how he's feeling, what he's feeling, which helps our coaching staff, Brandt and those guys, kind of move it along a little quicker. So a lot of credit to Jordan, because him being able to communicate that is key.
How much of a difference-making figure do you all believe he can still be for you guys?
Gosh, I mean, this is a real player, man. He looks big, he looks strong, and the power's there. He's going to place a ton of it. I sat there and watched John Jay do his work this morning. I'm stoked, man. I mean, just the intentionality and just intent behind that work. It's day one of them being out there, but it's hard not to get excited about the progress that'll be made there. Even guys that are shown to be really good, like the Cianis and Vicks of the world, man. Like, I think John's going to bring something special to that group, and we saw part of that today. Yeah.
Ollie, a lot of the changes, the process changes you all have made have been at the minor league level, at the systems level. How much of that has bled over into your job? How much of what you do changes as a result of it?
It's been phenomenal. I mean, when I say phenomenal, it's been really, really good. The meeting we had yesterday with those guys was phenomenal. We had another one this morning, and Derek asked a question a couple of days ago in conversation about kind of this camp and what to expect. I think a lot of it, to be quite honest, is like more manpower. We have more staff, and when you have more staff, you can kind of divide up camp a little bit differently and still have the attention to detail in each area and making sure that things aren't kind of getting skipped over. So just the manpower by itself has been helpful, and it's not just extra bodies, it's real skill sets that we brought to the table. So on the field it'll show, and then post every practice being able to break everything down, and some of the different viewpoints that are being brought to the table have been up to this point phenomenal.